Hello and welcome everybody to the Chakra Way Meditation Podcast. And I'm really excited about this guest. He was introduced to me by another guest who thought we get on, and having chatted for 10 minutes, I think we are getting on okay. I'd say okay so far, yeah. So today I'm really excited because I think this is going to be a doozy of a podcast. I have with me Daniel Packard. Now, Daniel is the CEO of Permanent Anxiety Solutions, and that's right, Permanent Anxiety Solutions. He is oh, what is it? He's a mechanical engineer. So he's UC Berkeley or Berkeley, depending on where you live, I guess, mechanical engineer, which is not a standard route into this kind of spiritual healing, anxiety, healing kind of world. But here we are, and here is Daniel with a really interesting. I can't wait to find out what his solutions are because he claims to have created a system which can permanently eradicate, significantly reduce anxiety. So, welcome, Daniel. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Roseanne. Hello to your audience and to the meditation community of the planet. I appreciate all of you for, yeah, wanting to be better, more peaceful people and actually putting in the time to do it. So, as wonderful as meditation is, it takes time and it helps. And it takes courage to be with yourself and feel. So, what I'm going to share with your audience is an insight that is, as much as I love meditation, and I used to be a very consistent meditator, I'm going to give you a perspective that would allow you to, at the very most, not have to meditate anymore, or at the very least, keep the results of your meditation, instead of them being temporary, they would last much, much, much longer.
Mm.
That's my teaser.
That's your teaser. I like that as a teaser. I mean, I don't want to put myself out of business and have people not want to meditate. And I think that people enjoy that practice. However, I am really fascinated to know, you've created this business, Permanent Anxiety Solutions. And one of the things that I love about what you're doing and with Permanent Anxiety Solutions is that you don't pay for the course or the information until it's actually worked. And this, I think, is a real game changer because there's a lot of people out there claiming to help you in one way or another. And anxiety is something that is so common in today's world. It is a big subject, a big topic for a lot of people. And, you've got this massive, with most things, that you've got the spectrum of what anxiety looks like. It can be like a little bit anxious because you've got something big happening. That's one thing. And then there's anxiety that's actually really affecting your life in a big major way. And sadly, there are more and more people who are experiencing that. And it's a very physical feeling as well as a mental kind of cage around your head. So I'm fascinated to know. Let's start at the beginning and tell me how you got into this and how you discovered this amazing solution.
Thank you. And just to be clear, I don't want to diminish or dismiss the value of meditation, but as you're going to learn, my passion is not to diminish what anybody is doing. Just say, if you want something that gets you better results or more permanent results, this is a path to do that. That's
Love it.
all.
Just fill us up with
So,
all the tools, tools, tools,
new
tools.
tools that are just more effective and better results. That's my thing. Now, why do results matter to me so much? Well, because when I was younger, my dad was a scientist and he was also an inventor. And I would see him invent things. And I thought this was just the most incredible superpower ever. I didn't want to fly. I thought, just make something that does something. And he said, Daniel, if something in the world isn't working the way you want, you can just invent something better. And it's a simple concept, but it's a way of thinking. And he showed me that way. And he also said, what I like about science is a lot of people can claim to know what they are talking about, but it's the person who gets the results. That's the person that you can say, oh, they actually know what they're talking about. And in physics, you actually have the theoretical physicists, people like Einstein, who just have a theory. It's called the theory of relativity. But until it's been tested and you actually have real results, it means borderline nothing. It's a starting point. And so science has theory, and then we have the experimentalists, which my dad was. You got to prove it. And I love that results matter. And so I loved inventing, and I liked making things that worked and got results. I would invent bike parts, and I would work on my boat and designing things and testing them so that they would get results, consistent results. So with that passion, I went to engineering school at UC Berkeley, where I grew up, and I was properly trained to be an inventor, basically a designer, which is you look at a complex problem that seemingly doesn't have a solution, then you come up with a mechanical solution. You understand the mechanics and mechanisms of a system. You then try to solve it. You build a prototype, and then you start to test it, and you get results. And if it doesn't work, you keep refining it until the thing actually works. That's what engineers are good at, is designing things until they work. Now, the good news was I got very good at making machines work. However, they didn't teach me how to make relationships work. They did not teach me that class. So I knew about thermodynamics. I knew about the theory of relativity. I knew about how to build a bridge. Nothing about relationships. So I fell in love, and I thought she was the one. Spoiler alert, she wasn't. We loved each other, but it was very unhealthy. And I didn't know it, but I was basically at times being emotionally abused, but I was too codependent and insecure. And I made a mistake that I know none of your listeners would ever do. I stayed in a relationship way too long. I know none of your listeners would do that,
Never.
but I did.
I would never do that. No.
Never. And I was proud of how I showed up in the relationship. I was the hero. I kept going, love will conquer all. But I was under this tremendous, basically being traumatized on a regular basis, didn't know it. And then when the relationship was over, about 2 weeks later, my whole system just crashed. Meaning the tiniest thing, an email from a person, a loud car door, someone interrupting me, and my whole system would just go into terror. And I found out basically I had anxiety and complex PTSD, and also constant overthinking, the spinning mind. I mean, you name it, I had it. Yeah. And like your listeners who have experienced either anxiety or stress or overwhelm or spinning mind, they go looking for help. And I went to gurus, I went to therapists, I went to psychologists, I lived in ashrams, I went to silent retreats. I did EMDR and EFT and MOUSC. I was probably in a cult and didn't know it. I was definitely in a cult, if I'm being honest. I tried 10 years and $100,000. And all it did was manage it. It was still there. And at times it would even get worse. And I couldn't leave the house. I was in the fetal position, just scared and terrified all the time, which then led to depression because you're not supposed to be scared all the time. And then my friends and family didn't want to be around a person in pain. So they all basically walked away, leaving me feeling even more sort of broken and alone. And I wouldn't have taken my own life, but I definitely got why people do, because I was just in pain all the time and no way out. Nothing was solving nothing. And I had this sort of very sad eureka moment, the opposite of a eureka moment. What do we call that? Whatever. I'll come up with a word for that later. But basically I realized, oh my God, this industry of personal development, spirituality, therapy, psychology, it's well-intentioned people. It's good tips and tools and insights to manage things. But if your measurement of success is that something is solved, this $1 trillion a year industry, it's not getting results.
Yeah.
It's not. And it's okay. But I was in a lot of pain, and I saw the whole world had this problem. We were just managing this pain. And I remembered what my dad told me. If something's not working, invent something better. And also results matter. And really just to save my own life, but also the lives of the whole world that was struggling with this with no permanent solution, I started my own research company to approach it more like an engineer. And I challenged my team. I said, let's see, I don't know if it's possible, could we reverse engineer a permanent solution for anxiety, meaning it goes away and it doesn't come back? Now, we didn't know if we could. We just thought someone needs to at least try.
Yeah.
And it was way harder than we thought. We worked with 3,000 people, over $1 million in research and development. I lived with my team in 5 countries to work with trying to figure out what this is and how to solve it. And I was one of the first test cases. I remember the day very clearly. I just noticed that my body and mind just went quiet. I was just calm. Now, I thought I was going to come back, but it didn't. One day goes by, 1 week goes by, a month, and I told my team, I think we got it. And we did. I've been chill as a cucumber, quiet body, quiet mind for 10 years straight. It's just, I'm just content. But then we thought, oh my God, we figured this out. So we then said, we got to systematize this and get it online, create a program that makes it affordable and that gets results. So because results matter, I'm just going to tell your audience 4 important results, because your audience is very savvy. They've learned a lot of stuff. I want to give them some results so they know that what I'm about to teach them, which is why they're anxious and how to stop it, makes sense. The first is the program has a 90% success rate of quieting the body and the mind. That's no matter what type of anxiety you have, no matter how long you've had it, gender, orientation, country, doesn't matter. The other result that matters is what you said. We don't charge you at the beginning of the program. We only charge you at the end of the program once your anxiety is solved, because we believe results matter. And if we can't help you, we're not going to take your money. We're trying to disrupt this whole idea of all this money people spend and don't get results. And then the other result is that no matter what I say on this podcast, your audience will not fully believe me. It'll make sense, but they won't believe me because they've had this for so long. And anxiety and the spinning mind feels just so complicated, and we're solving this in 6 weeks. They will not believe me. So at the end, I'm going to send your audience to my website to download a free training and one of our techniques, which is a form of a meditation that we developed. And you're going to apply it to your anxiety and your spinning mind. And you're going to get a real result that shows you that what we're doing isn't too good to be true. Because I don't want people to take my word for it. Go do it for yourself. So okay. So that's what we're about. And again, so if you're listening to this and you just want to keep managing your anxiety and your spinning mind, you should probably leave now. But if you want to find out at least how it's even possible to have it go away and not come back, then that's what I'm going to share with you.
Okay. I mean, these are massive claims, Daniel. I'm not going to lie. It sounds very impressive. And I think, I don't know, the only thing that came up for me as you were speaking then was some people do find big change through therapy, through energy healing, through meditation. It can really shift somebody's life. Learning and implementing these various techniques. So I feel like, I don't know, I don't know, I'm just going to get a little bit defensive. No, it does work. Some things does work. But I think what you're, I think for somebody who's really struggling, this is where I'm really interested. And yeah, so, okay. Anxiety.
Well, just to your point, because it is a big claim, and I want to do my best to not diminish what people have tried and I've tried that is out there. It's the question of, and I hear this all the time, I've tried things and it worked, and it does work. If you peel back the layers and you talk to people a lot and you say, how much did it work? Like, what was the real outcome? Certainly I and the hundreds of people I've spoken to on calls say, no, it was never fully gone. I was able to lower it to where it was much, much better, which great. But it's still not gone. And often you have to keep doing the technique multiple times. There's the emotional freedom technique. Now, I used to use it. And guess what? It works, meaning you feel these feelings of fear and anxiety, you tap and you feel calmer. That definition of work, it works. My issue is it's called the emotional freedom technique, but you're not free because you still have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So again, does it work? If just managing it or lowering it in the moment is your definition of working, then yeah, tons of stuff work. But our definition of work is it's gone and it doesn't come back. Now, if your audiences are listening to this, it means they're meditating, which means there's probably something in their life that's fear or anxiety related, and they're listening to this podcast. So at the maybe in this world there are people that found permanent solutions, but if they're on your podcast, they're meditating,
I
which means
probably
there's
not.
something
Yeah,
still there that's not gone.
you're right. Okay, so let's get into, like, from my perspective, from my energetic work, from the chakra perspective, and so on. My take is that anxiety is well, first of all, it's very much held in the body. It's a physical thing. Like, we try and I think a lot of solutions, certainly therapy type solutions, talking solutions, trying to we're trying to kind of think our way out of anxiety a lot of the time, or think our way out of the spinning mind or the whatever. But at a quantum physics level, it's held very physically within the body. The anxiety is held within the cells energetically. And that, trying to dispel that through somatic work, through, using the body, through yoga, through breath work, all of that's what I'm familiar with in terms of so does your approach deal with it in terms of physicality? Because I feel like that's a really important way of doing it, sort of almost disengaging the brain and the mind from it, and actually just going into the physical side of it.
Well, gold stars to you, Roseanne, because what you just said, while completely true, is not as widely understood as one would think. Absolutely. One of the reasons that we were able to solve it is because we realized it was coming from the body. Now, some people who have done enough work and worked on this long enough start to figure out, oh, it's in the body. It is. It's in the body. Now, if you're listening to this, you know that. I know that based on the data and based on the fact that my anxiety is completely gone when we focus on the body. Some of your listeners probably know that. That's why breathing exercises tends to work. It's working on the body. But part of the reason a lot of people don't solve anxiety is we're told it is a problem of the mind. They say to quiet the thoughts
Yeah.
or to not believe the scary thoughts. They give us pills to target the neurotransmitters in the brain. I mean, it's called mental health. It's got the word mental right in there.
Yeah.
So many people have accidentally gotten confused and are trying to solve it at the mind level, whether it's quieting the mind or just trying to understand through psychology. And again, it's okay for managing it, but it doesn't solve it. And the reason it doesn't solve it is because anxiety is not a problem of the mind. It's a problem of the body, which is actually quite obvious. First of all, trying to solve it at the mind level hasn't solved anything. But also, just think about it. People say, I feel anxious. Nobody says, I think anxious. I feel anxious. Well, where do you feel it? Your throat, your chest, your heart, your stomach? Are those mind words or body words?
Yeah.
They're body words.
Yeah.
So we saw that right away. We were like, wait a minute. So if you're listening to this and you fully understand it's in the body, then you are way ahead of everybody else. But if you partly believe it's in the mind, that's partly why you haven't solved it yet, because you were sent to the wrong location. You do not have an anxiety issue. You have a location issue. Some of the experts that you trusted, not Roseanne, she knows what's going on. But the fact that it's even called mental health has confused generations of people of where the problem is. The problem is coming from the mind, is from the body. And we know that because, again, there are techniques in the body that do help. Also, the book, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, King Gabor Mate, Russell Kennedy. People who are paying attention see it's an issue of the body. What we were able to do was many of the body techniques are, again, they're usually symptom management. They haven't gotten and truly healed the root cause. So it keeps coming back. So if you're going to manage symptoms, a body based approach is better than a mind based. Doing breathing exercises will calm you down. Good. But then, of course, it comes back. So we have a body approach that doesn't manage it, but solves it. So absolutely, it's coming from the mind, from the body.
From the body, yeah, absolutely. And what I'm interested in is, so also because everybody's going to hold their anxiety somewhere differently. I mean, you already said, is it in the shoulders, in the stomach? Is it in we hold it in different places within our bodies. So for me, when I'm talking to somebody who is anxious and I'm doing, say, a chakra reading or something, and we're kind of trying to learn about the energetic body and their specific energetic body, we will find a place where there is tension, whether it be the hips, whether it be the neck, whether it be, wherever it is. There is a place, a location where it's held usually. And that's in itself, finding out why it's where it is also fascinating, and it helps to start unlocking the understanding of it, the mental understanding of it, but it also helps you, then zero in. So how do you navigate that in terms of finding, if you've got just one solution and one size fits all, am I right? Is so, but I'm holding my anxiety in my shoulders, and my friend over there is holding their anxiety in their hips. Like, how do we differentiate? How do we solve that?
Well, it's a great question. And it's because we answered a question that not enough people were asking. Not because they're not smart or because they care. It's just the way we approach a lot of anxiety and mental health, which is usually through a filter of managing it. And when you're managing things, you ask different questions than if you want a complete solution.
Mm.
And this is because, primarily the way the industry is set up. If you're a therapist, usually you go to school and you learn concepts and modalities that you're learning, and they're primarily management based. They make the best of a bad situation. You learn the management techniques and then you pass them along to your clients. And there is value in it, but that's kind of the game.
Yeah.
Or a lot of the spiritual teachers that I would go to, they had some things that helped manage things, and then they would share it with us. So they're learning management stuff, understanding tips and tools, and sharing them. Great. But that's not what we did. We were like, we gotta solve this. And that's a whole different approach. So we started to ask a question that doesn't get asked. You said, well, the anxiety is sort of, stuck in certain locations of the body. True. But here's the question. How did that anxiety end up there in the first place?
Mm.
Do you know?
No, I guess. I mean, you can have an idea, you can explore that quite vigorously, and have theories, but yet again, like you're talking about, the physical is theories, isn't it? As rather than actual solid answers. So yeah.
It's a good, but isn't it fun? I mean, I would go and I would listen to very smart people like yourself, and they would say, well, the anxiety is this, or your anxiety is that. And there was some truth to it. And the engineer was like, well, but why are you like anxious to be? They were describing the experience of anxiety, but not saying, but what's the actual pathogenesis? Like if you have someone that's bleeding and someone's saying, well, if blood is in the air for a certain time, it starts to dry. You don't want to end up with blood on white fabric. If you want to clean out blood, do this. Or if you want to minimize blood, use this band. It's like, okay, yeah, but why are you bleeding to begin with? Like, where's this even coming from? So to solve something, you have to get to the actual root cause with an understanding that makes it solvable. You can't there's a lot of theories out there that sound like it's the root cause, but it's not a solvable understanding. A client came to me who had been seeing a therapist for 7 years. And she said, oh, my therapist is great. My therapist really helped me a lot. And I'm like, yeah, but you're still having panic attacks after 7 years. I didn't say that. But also she said, my therapist told me that my anxiety is coming from unresolved trauma.
Yeah.
From my past. Now, there's a bit of truth to that. There is a relationship between trauma and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
However, unless you have a time machine and can go back and change it, or unless you can magically undo all this, it's an understanding, but it doesn't make it easily solvable. How do we know? She'd been doing it for 7 years with that therapist and was still having panic attacks. So I challenge my team. We need an understanding at the root cause that's simple and solvable. Do you want to know what it is, Roseanne?
Yeah, of course I do. Hit me with it.
Okay. So to solve this, we said, okay, it's in the body. And the cool thing about the body is the body's kind of mechanical. Bones and ligaments and arteries, the skin, the teeth. There's a lot of like engineering in there. The knee, the tongue, the eyes. It's mechanics. Mm-hmm. And we said, well, that's great, because if you understand the mechanics of something, you can understand why it's not working and how to fix it. So we said, well, let's just find the system in the body. There's systems in the body, and systems have sort of rules that apply to everybody. you have to drink water. If 1,000 people don't drink water, all 1,000 are going to have problems because of the mechanics of the system. And then if those 1,000 people have headaches and blood clotting from not enough water, if you give them all water, all 1,000 come back. That's why one size fits all if you can understand a mechanical understanding. So we said, what system in the body is controlling the anxiety? So take out the word anxiety, which is kind of tainted. And it's like, what does that word even mean? It's still kind of confusing. And just swap it out for extra nervous. Okay. Just say, I'm nervous, extra nervous. Okay. This is very easy once you ask the right question. To you, Roseanne, and your audience, what system in the body do you think is most likely to be making people extra nervous? The endocrine system, the capillary system, or the nervous system?
Let me think about it. Can I phone a friend?
You can do it.
Yeah, no, it's the nervous system, clearly.
Yeah, it's the nervous system. And yeah, it's clearly. Of course, it makes so much sense. But anxiety is called a brain disorder. You have it. The experts were seeing people are extra nervous. There's a system in the body that's got the word nervous right in there. And they were like, no, it can't be that. It's a brain disorder. No, it's the nervous system, and it's not functioning properly, and it's making people extra nervous, aka anxious. Now, your listeners are going, yeah, that makes sense. It's my nervous system. But what's profound about this is it's a system.
Yeah.
If you're in the mind or other interpretations, it's not a system, but systems are simple and understandable, and you can understand why systems fail and how to repair systems. Agreed?
Yep.
So then we said, well, why? What's the simple reason that the nervous system is malfunctioning? And we need a simple explanation, nothing fancy. And once we asked the question, the right question, the answer revealed itself. The reason that the nervous system is malfunctioning and making everybody extra nervous is the reason that every system in the body can malfunction. There's a couple key ways that systems in the body can malfunction. Catastrophic failure, like if you fall off a ladder, your leg can break. Something genetic, can go wrong. Old age, systems can start to fail. And then there's a fourth one. And the fourth reason that a system can fail is if you don't take care of it.
Yeah, simple, kind of like taking care of your car, getting it serviced, etc. Yes, mechanics.
Exactly.
This. Okay.
So we are taught the basic hygiene of a lot of systems in the body. We're taught you got to get 8 hours of sleep, you got to drink a certain amount of water, you got to eat the food pyramid, don't smoke, eat healthy. And there's basics, brush and floss. If you do the basics that each system needs, in God's incredible miracle, our bodies pretty much run on autopilot. It is such a gift. Not only do we get a body for free, do you know how expensive it would be to order a human body on Amazon? Like the tongue alone would be $1 million. The eyeballs, the skin, consciousness, and we get one for free. And it basically takes care of itself. But God in the universe says, okay, I'm going to give you something beautiful on the condition you take care of it.
Yeah.
Everything beautiful that we're given by the divine is free. The planet, the atmosphere, the giggles of baby, relationships. It's free. Yeah. But Spirit and God says, it ain't free. You better take care of it. And if you don't take care of it, I'm going to send you a message to make you listen. And that message is pain. If you don't take care of your relationship and do the basics, you're going to end up with pain. If you don't take care of the planet and do the basics, we're going to end up with the pain. If you don't brush and floss, eventually you're going to have an infected tooth and there's going to be pain. Can you see that if you don't take care of a system, the basics, eventually it's going to crash and release pain? Can you see that?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yes. Carry on. I'm wanting to bottom of this. Go.
We were taught hygiene for all the other systems. We were taught every day, just do the basics, brush and floss. Taught. We were taught, get about 8 hours of sleep. We were taught, try to eat a balanced diet or else you're going to gain weight and your arteries are going to clog. We're taught, try to get 8 hours of sleep. We're taught the fundamental hygiene of the other systems. To you, Roseanne, and to your listeners, did anybody ever sit you down when you were younger and say, hey, here's the fundamental basics that you got to do every day, a little bit, to take care of the feelings and emotions in your nervous system. You got to take care of them. And if you don't, not right away, but eventually your nervous system will crash, creating pain. Did anybody teach you how to take care of the feelings and emotions in your nervous system?
Oh, God damn it. I wish they had. No, they didn't. I mean, that's why so many people need to do the work now because they didn't get taught that stuff, you know. But, you know, we can blame our parents when they didn't know and their parents didn't know. And we just carried on, you know, we just sort of did the do. But yeah, no, we were not taught. A lot.
Absolutely. And we can't blame them. Nobody taught them.
No, exactly.
We didn't learn. Okay. So if the nervous system, which is the feelings and emotions, have just daily fundamental hygiene, and you were never taught it, and I was never taught it, can you see that eventually the nervous system at some point is going to become unhealthy and fragile?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I spend so much of my time talking about the nervous system and teaching ways to regulate it. You know, that's why you feel great when you step out of a yoga class because you've just like really just gone deep into the nervous system. You've done a shoulder stand and you've stimulated your vagus nerve and you just like you feel fantastic. But it fades and then you go back to a yoga class. Happy days for me being a yoga teacher, but the permanent solution I'm fascinated about.
So you made a good point. We've seen that there are body focused ways to manage
Yeah.
by taking care of it. But here's the thing about systems. This is a great conversation because you get this. There's a difference between having a body focused management approach and repairing. What the data showed is that systems have a gradient of health. If you have your teeth and you don't brush and floss for a week or two, you'll see some basics. You'll get some puffy gums and a little bit of bloody gums. At that point, you can just brush and floss and it'll come back to health. But if the neglect has gone on long enough, you don't just have bloody gums, you end up with like an infected tooth and you need a root canal.
Yeah.
It's gone too far. The system is in a state of disrepair. Can you see at that point, you can't repair an infected tooth with brushing and flossing? Can you see it's too late?
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of the techniques that are somatic, they do help, but they're surface level. They're not really going to the root and repairing the nervous system back to full health. That's what we figured out how to do, not to manage it. Just like we have 3 phases to the program. First, it's all steps. We figured out the steps in just the right sequence, in just the right order to repair it. So first you repair it to sort of bring it back to strength. Then you retrain your nervous system. You sort of recalibrate it back to health. And then you're also taught how to maintain. So there's 3 phases: repair, retrain, and maintain. And that's why we're getting these incredible results, is because we figured out that we really need to repair it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, until you know what basic daily hygiene is for your nervous system, nobody knows what it is. So even if you're managing it, you're going to yoga, you're doing breathing exercise, you're doing some good things 5 to 10 times a day because you don't know what the hygiene is, you're re-neglecting your nervous system every day.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. It makes perfect sense. I'm just sort of sitting here going, I just want to know what the repair steps are, and I want to know what the maintenance steps are.
Of course you do.
I want to know.
Of course you do. So the reason I want people to download the free training and get the technique is your audience is savvy. They've heard stuff before. They're probably going, oh, this guy makes sense. But it still just makes it. How do you know it's going to work? And what does it even look like? People say, well, how does it work? How does it work? So that's what the free training is about. You get a free training. And what you're going to see is one of the ways that you accidentally, unknowing to you, are basically not taking care of yourself. And you don't even know. That's why it's a problem. You don't even know to brush and floss. So you're not brushing and flossing, and there's this pain. And you're going to feel it, and you're going to go, oh my God, I haven't been doing, like, no wonder I feel this way. And then we're going to show you one of the tools and techniques that we developed that starts to really repair your nervous system back to health. And you can feel it. You can feel it starting to work already in your system. It's incredible. And when you try to be anxious about something, it's harder to get anxious. And that's just from a 3-minute exercise. And I actually got a message from a woman 2 weeks ago. She said, I did your 3-minute exercise at the end of the training. I have not felt a level of calm like that in years. And that was from 3 minutes. So that's going to show you not only how this program works, but also that it can work for you. But here's the payoff, because we're talking nervous system and here's the payoff. And we know this because we've tested this with thousands of people. This is going to sound like I'm name dropping. I kind of am. I spent 4 months in Dharamshala working with Buddhist monks because they're very dedicated meditators. And I showed up with my tools testing. And I said, this is a great audience because these people are disciplined. And I said, well, it's great. You're meditating, 1 to 2 hours a day, and you're a much calmer, more peaceful person. Thank you. However, what if you could quiet the body down completely so it just went quiet and stayed quiet? And they were like, that's just not how life is. And I said, not yet. So we brought our tools and modalities to these Buddhist monks in Dharamshala, and they saw that they didn't have to meditate anymore. Now, they were still Buddhists, and they were very attached to their Buddhist path. So it's not like they gave up Buddhism or anything. But we went to very hardcore meditators, and we ran the data with them, and they were profound. And what they said was, Daniel, you're an engineer, but this is a very spiritual approach. Like, this is still based in love and divinity, and it's just very effective. And here's the benefit. This is what the monks got, and this is the payoff. Because we're talking, like, what does that even mean? A healthy nervous system. Like, what does that even mean? Underneath anxiety, anxiety is just a word. It's a word to describe the feeling of fear. You can call it nervous, worried, anxious, overwhelmed, panicked, but can you see that on some level, it's just different words for the word fear? Yeah.
Yeah.
So why does a person feel fear? A person feels fear because underneath, for some reason, they feel unsafe. We feel unsafe. If you feel unsafe, you'll feel a feeling called fear. And then you may name that feeling anxiety, panic, overwhelm, worry. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And people ask me all the time, yeah, why do I feel so unsafe? I'm at home. I'm in a Snuggie. I'm trying to Netflix and chill, and I can't chill. I'm thinking about work, and I'm freaking out. Why do I feel why does it feel? 2 weeks ago, a client we're working with said, why does it feel like there's a tiger in the room when I'm at home? And I said, basically, you have been nobody taught you how to take care of your nervous system. And now it's in a state of failure and just cranking out nervousness. It's misregulated.
Yeah.
But also you feel unsafe. That's the feeling. And I said, what would you like to feel safe? And she said, oh my God, I haven't felt safe since I was 8 years old. I was like, I know, welcome to the club. So she went through the program, and about the 3rd week, she sent me a message. And she said, I woke up this morning, and I think for the first time since I was a kid, I just felt safe. She said, it's almost weird. It's disorienting. And I said, that's the benefit. So to those out there listening, we can look at this struggle with so many different names: nervous system, the body, somatic, chakra, anxiety, overwhelm. But what I'll tell you is, for that client, all our clients, and me, I fundamentally just feel safe in my body from the inside out. I don't have to meditate to get back to it. I don't have to do I just have a strong nervous system where I feel fundamentally safe all the time.
Yeah.
So to you, Roseanne, and your listeners, can you understand how much calmer not only your body, but your mind would be if you could just wake up feeling safe?
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand what you're getting at. And I think because I don't suffer with anxiety, because I do spend the majority of my life feeling safe and feeling calm and peaceful. I'm very fortunate in that regard. And I feel like actually I've done a lot of work to get to that space. Um, and it's ongoing work that I enjoy, and I get a, it gives me a sense of wholehearted fulfillment to do this work that I do on myself and with other people as well. Um, but you know, I it's a beautiful feeling, feeling safe and secure. And then of course the worries come in and the anxiety just, dips in every so often for somebody like myself. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in that, when I am feeling super stressed. For example, just recently moved house, somewhat stressful, quite a lot of anxiety, stress happening there. Um, I would not survive if I don't know how I would survive, and I don't know how awful it must be to be in that sort of level of stress at all times and for no particular good reason. So I completely get how very, very important it is to feel safe. Safety is at the root, literally, root chakra is the root of all things, is feeling safe. So listen, you've teased us so much. It's kind of annoying me because you've given me so many. I understand what you're getting at, and I love this very, this engineering, reverse engineering of anxiety, and we're aligning on so many things. But can you give us just a like a little mini example? Maybe like give for everybody, because I've taken up lots of your time already. Give everybody tell everyone how we can find you. And I know it's danielpackard.com, but what there is there, and maybe give us just like a little something to go away with, just a little nugget of goodness that's going to make us feel optimistic.
Well, first of all, you're not wasting my time. This is my gift. I get so when you can this program and what we do is so effective that we're giving people their lives back. And as you can imagine, you do what you do to help. And when you can, I mean, 2 weeks ago, no, well, 2 weeks ago, he was better. 8 weeks ago, he reached out to us, this guy, Andy from Colorado. He had tried, I mean, everything. And he said, I've given up hope, but I met someone who did your program and I knew they were anxious and they're not anxious anymore. So I'm skeptical, but I'm intrigued. And I said, yeah, you can be skeptical. I mean, you only pay at the end when it works. And he said, yeah, that's incredible. Like, I don't know how you pull that off. I was like, you'll see. So he said, but I don't have a life. I want to be a father and a husband. And I'm at home hiding. My kids are outside playing, and I have this guilt and shame. Anxiety doesn't just make you anxious; it robs you of the life
God, the
that you want to
shame,
live.
guilt and shame, such, yeah, hideous, horrible, debilitating feelings, emotions.
And
Yeah.
so I told him, I said, when you find out what we do, the first thing is you're going to lift the guilt and shame. You're going to see this is just a mechanical issue because you you never were taught to take care of your system. I said, if you didn't brush and floss, if nobody taught you to brush and floss and you needed a root canal, would you beat yourself up and go, I'm a broken person. There's something wrong with me. He'd be like, no, it's just your body fails because I didn't take care of it. I was like, what if your nervous system and your anxiety is the same thing? What if it's not a brain disorder? What if you were never taught to take care of yourself and your anxiety is the universe trying to get your attention? Because the universe knows we don't always listen and they have to turn up the pain because we listen to pain. But if you're supposed to take care of a system, whether it's a marriage or a goldfish or a dog or a child, and or your body, and you don't take care of it and there's pain, is that system broken or is that system functioning exactly the way it was designed? It's the way it was designed. If you don't take care of a system, it's designed to send off this pain alarm to say, hey, you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
So most people, because they don't understand it, think their anxiety is a problem. It's called a disorder, for God's sakes. That's not going to help.
Yeah.
So your anxiety, I'm telling you, it's not a burden. It's your body calling out to you, telling you you need to understand how to take care of it daily and give yourself the love that you give everybody else, but not yourself. So your anxiety is not a burden. It's a gift trying to teach you something. And once you learn it and can apply it, your anxiety goes away and doesn't come back. So that's my nugget. Your anxiety is not a problem. It's a gift.
Yeah.
And once you listen to it, and that's what you learn in the training, is what it needs and how to give yourself what you need so you can be happy. And the guy that I spoke to, I think it was about 7 weeks, he just said, I cannot thank you enough. He said, it's not just that I'm calm, but my wife has her husband back. Like, I'm happier now. I'm more present. And my kids, he said, just the other day, I was playing with my kids in the sun for the first time in 3 years. So thank you for giving my kids their father back. So that's why you're not wasting my time. I get really excited. Now, how can people get a hold of us? I like things simple, Roseanne. Okay. So my name's Daniel Packard. I'm going to send people to my website. What do you think my URL is?
Well, I just said it, danielpackard.com.
Yes, let's keep it simple. KISS. Keep it simple, sexy. Okay. And I'm going to give you a training, and I want to keep things simple. What do you think the cost of the training is, Roseanne?
Well, I don't know, but I did look at your website and I did see that you tailor it to people's budgets and
Well, that's the big training. That's the whole program. But
okay.
the 45-minute training.
Oh, that'll be for free.
It's free, girlfriend, free. I cannot make it any simpler. And you're going to get that. That's the next step. Don't just believe me. Don't worry about, oh, can my anxiety, will it work for me? Don't overcomplicate it. I've made it really simple. Get the free training, and you're going to have an experience in your body of the root cause of where your anxiety is coming from that you have not learned before. Then you're going to understand a very simple understanding of how to bring it back to health. Then you're going to apply one of our techniques. It's not the whole system, but it's one of our techniques, and you will feel measurably calmer, more deeply. 45 minutes, you learn a technique to calm yourself down. You may get an epiphany of why you still have this. You're going to realize you're not broken or damaged. You are going to feel noticeably calmer, and you're going to have hope that maybe you can live a life without this and the life that you deserve, and be the person you want to be for yourself and the people that you care about. So if you think 45 minutes is a good use of time to either find out what's causing your anxiety that nobody taught you and how to solve it quickly so that you can be happier for the rest of your life, if you think that's good use of your time, or if you think I'm full of crap, if you're like, this guy's a scam, go download the training and see if I'm full of crap.
Yeah, no,
Sometimes
I
in
don't
life,
think you're full of crap.
simple things. What'd you say?
I said, I don't think you're full of crap. I just want to know what these magic solutions are, because I'm so with you on this. Like, your body, I always say when I'm talking about the chakras, like, if you have pain, if you have dis-ease, it's because your body's like a woman scorned. There is nothing more that your body hates than being ignored. If it's trying to send you a signal, it'll send you a little hint, and if you don't take any notice of it, it'll get worse and worse and worse until bam, you hit a wall, and and it will give you that very clear signal. And it's a really interesting way to look at it, to go, actually, anxiety is just another one of those big symbols, whereas it might be, like, say, let's take a really easily example, some kind of like I don't know, stomach ulcers or IBS or something. That's a really clear signal about your energetic body, and one that is easily understood. However, anxiety is one that yeah, because it's been called a mental disorder, people are just like, oh, well, there's something wrong with me and I need to go and fix my head. But actually, it's in the nervous system. You're absolutely right. And this is the big revelation for today's podcast. And I'm really intrigued. And when I have 45 minutes to spare, which I will hopefully have on Sunday, I will go and download it and listen, because you've intrigued me a lot.
Good. That's all I'm trying to do, is get people curious of a new way to do this, which just makes sense and it's simple. I didn't say, okay, we're going to do an ayahuasca ceremony. We're going to lick a psychedelic frog. We're not going to vision board until your fingers bleed. This is like simple. And people know that the body can crash and there's pain, and we know we can repair the body. If you know somebody who's ever needed a root canal, they don't live like that for the rest of their lives. They go to experts who know how to repair the teeth, and you're up and running. People who have had a heart attack, their heart crashed, they have an operation, you clean out the artery, you change your diet. And not only can you get rid of the pain, but when it's body, you can make the body strong.
Yeah.
There are people, who have almost died from a heart attack, and then they use it as a wake-up call to then be super healthy, and they post on Facebook saying, like, I almost died and now I'm doing marathons.
Yeah, but that's also an energetic, quite a lot of the time. Yes, it can be, dietary, you haven't followed the rules, as you said, you haven't given yourself a good diet, so your heart's sort of malfunctioning because you've clogged it full of the wrong stuff. But heart issues can also be an energetic result of energetic imbalance, of external things, if you like, that have and thought patterns. And this is what it comes back to, which I find quite interesting, is that, the way that our body responds to what we think sort of leads us almost in full circle, in terms of, we think a thought and it feeds into energetically into our body, and then that creates the anxiety. And then so there is a certain level of thought pattern that can create dis-ease within our bodies. But you're absolutely right that the nervous system is at the heart of all of this, and is certainly at the heart of anxiety.
Well, you said something important that can confuse people, and I'm always trying to simplify it. The mind, you said the mind can create disease. The mind can take the disease and just make it worse. So people sometimes say, well, Daniel, the mind is part of it. I have this mind that's like scaring me all the time. And I was told, like, and it makes sense. If you're hearing scary thoughts and you feel fear, it sort of seems like the mind, but that's not what's going on. The actual, because in science, there's causation versus correlation.
Yeah.
Your body,
It's feeling
that's where it's starting.
Oh, fear. And then, yes, I'm with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your mind follows the body. You feel hunger in the body first, and the mind tries to get you food. If you feel fear in the body first, your mind goes, oh, there's a problem, and starts working. So since you were never taught to take care of your nervous system, there's just fear and unsafety in it. Then the mind senses it and goes, oh, I better start worrying and worrying. Now, if you start worrying and worrying, yeah, it'll keep you in that loop. But the actual place that if you focus, it'll go away. And again, it's not theory. We focused on my nervous. I was ground zero. Okay. I could not leave the house. I'm in the fetal position. And now, once the body went quiet, the mind just went quiet because there's nothing to worry about. But again, do not take my word for it. 45 minutes to find out and see for yourself at danielpackard.com. Thank you for these excellent questions, Roseanne. You know your stuff. Thank you for being curious and open. And I just love the fact that you even know it's in the body to begin with.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for your time and for sharing this. And I'm fascinated by this, and I'm really enjoyed chatting with you. It's been an experience. It's been really good fun. So we've given your website, danielpackard.com, and it's all there. Simple. It's a nice site, very clear. So we'll leave it there, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of feedback once I've done your 45-minute thing, and we'll see, huh?
I would love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for having me. And to your listeners, thank you for going on this ride with us.
Thank you for coming. Thanks so much.